Oh man, did you see that awesomeness? The ancient power that Zelda just unleashed upon those monstrosities? I mean, aside from awakening it at just the right time, kinda conveniently, I am glad her sealing power does a lot more than just, you know, seal evil away. I mean, she basically just set off a bomb of light that destroyed all her enemies right in front of her. It's such a pity Link was already unconscious before getting to see Zelda do her awesome stuff. Actually, wait a second, he wasn't down just yet, was he? Nope. There he is, right there, alive and well, enjoying the view of the death machines. I mean, yeah, his stamina wheel had probably run out a while ago, and he may have only had 1 or 2 hearts left, but he was alive, right? I know sometimes in-game cinematics work differently from in-game logic, but if the 3 decades of Zelda games are any indication of what Link can do, that means that if he was not on fire and alive even on a quarter heart with no stamina at all my boy Link needs is a breather and some hearty simmered fruit and he's back in the action. But right after Zelda's blast goes off, and I mean right after it goes off, he falls to the ground only to be immediately considered dead by the princess. If you don't know where I'm going with this just yet, I'll just hurry up and tell you. Zelda's powers have taken on many different forms and abilities over the years. What if her quote-unquote sealing powers actually ended up sealing the deal on Link here, who was otherwise going to survive, you know, given that he wasn't shot in the face? Hold up, don't head down to the comments just yet. Let's get through the video first. Roll the title. Hey guys, just real quick before I get to the nitty gritty, if you enjoy my content, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with that bell icon so you don't miss out on all my Nintendo stuff to come. YouTube has a tendency to repeatedly recommend videos to people without them actually being subscribed to that channel. So sometimes you'll be watching a channel's videos and you won't even know you're not subscribed. But channels can't grow without subscribers. So remember, hit that sub button and enable those notifications so that you always know what's going on at MaskedNintendoBandit. And that's enough of that. On to the aforementioned nitty-gritty. So as I mentioned briefly at the start of the video, Link and Zelda's final scene together 100 years ago ends with Link being defeated, maybe even killed, and his limp body didn't hit the ground until after Zelda's blast of light goes off, which admittedly looks and acts a whole lot different than anything else we've ever seen Zelda do in the games, even at the end of Breath of the Wild. This made me start thinking real hard about everything involved in this situation, from the battle to Zelda's powers to Link falling to the Shrine of Resurrection itself. But here's a spoiler alert for you. There is so much to talk about here that I'm actually going to do my first 2-part theory on this subject, with the first video, that's this one you're watching right now, covering Zelda's real powers and what happened in this cutscene, and the second one being about Link's possible death and the Shrine of Resurrection's real purpose. But for this video, let's talk about Zelda. In order to get a grasp on what actually happened in the scene, let's piece together 2 things. 1, what it looks like happened, and 2, what we've seen Zelda's sacred powers do in other parts of the Zelda franchise. In the first place, Zelda's powers seem to be directly tied to her will. This may seem obvious, but it's important to note in order to understand the true nature of her powers. We see this across the entire franchise, but in this scene specifically, she's able to straight up kill the Guardians when both Link's life and her own are threatened. Let's take a look at what happens when the blast goes off. It spreads out in a giant sphere, as is typical of, you know, a bomb or detonation going off, followed by the Guardians falling down and glitching out, as what looks like Ganon's malice leaves its host. Then Link also falls down. Let me ask you, what exactly is Zelda supposed to be sealing away here? One could say that she's sealing Ganon's power, you know, kind of sucking it out of the Guardians, and that's why they become cleansed of his power, but that's not what's happening here. At the end of the game, we see what sealing away Ganon's malice looks like, and while it may look similar at first glance, what with the similar orb of light expanding outward from Zelda's position, it's different because it literally sucks Calamity Ganon into a black hole sort of prison. A seal, if you would. That's not what happens in the previous cutscene at all. Those Guardians are, quite honestly, losing their lives, because if she was really just cleansing them of Ganon's influence, wouldn't they simply revert back to their normal programming that we know they were already in from prior cutscenes? I mean, that's what happened to each divine beast when Link cleansed reminds them of Ganon's influence. You literally see the malice exiting their divine bods and their little red lights turning blue, meaning, hey, no more kill the princess, it's time to kill Ganon, beep boop. But again, this is clearly not what happens to these guardians who were threatening the lives of Zelda and Link. They're down and out of commission permanently, as we see from the present day ruins of the death robots. Not sealed away, not cleansed. But how is this possible? Can Zelda really just kill things like that? Let's take a look at her powers over the entire franchise and try to find an answer. Chronologically speaking, in the first Zelda game called Skyward Sword, spoiler alert by the way, she's revealed to literally be the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia herself. That's some pretty big deal type stuff, meaning that the royal bloodline is literally the bloodline of the gods. Huh. Neat. But since Zelda harbors the goddess within her bloodline, one would assume that would come with the goddess's powers, right? Otherwise, I mean, really, what's the point? Those powers, plural, would include the ability to telepathically communicate with others, namely Link, as shown in several games like A Link to the Past, and of course this one you may have heard of called Breath of the Wild. Fellow YouTuber Nintendo Black Crisis did a theory a couple years ago about the true nature of her powers in Breath of the Wild, concluding that she can also even turn into a spirit of light herself, which makes sense to me. In Twilight Princess, she can seemingly alter time when she slows it down to make a plea to the light spirits at the last moment, and even ends up warping Link and herself to their realm, a trait that she also appears to perform once again when warping Link to the battlefield in Breath of the Wild. In Ocarina of Time, she's able to create a magically enhanced disguise that enables her to convincingly take on the physical appearance of the opposite sex. But this particular ability could also be the Sheikah training she received from Impa, which of course the Yiga, having the same technology as the Sheikah, are also capable of performing in Breath of the Wild. But at the end of Ocarina of Time, she has another power where she holds Ganon down to enable Link to deliver the final blow, an ability I can only assume she's performing again in Breath of the Wild for 100 years while she shares his cocoon and prevents him from unleashing the dark beast Ganon's rage upon Hyrule, holding him down in a similar fashion so that Link can, hurry up and quit looking for Koroks and come over there and beat Ganon like he's supposed to do. So far we have telepathy, spirit transformation and travel, warping, light blasts, sealing, disguise, and just preventative force or whatever that's called. And if I'm missing any of her powers, let me know in the comment below. But she's kind of all over the place, isn't she? I mean, it seems like she just kind of gets to do whatever she puts her mind to. I mean, what's the secret behind her powers, which seems to be just whatever force she wills into existence? Well, I'm glad I scripted you to ask me that question just now. It's actually revealed to us in the game The Minish Cap, which unfortunately not too many have played, myself included, I'm ashamed to admit, but it's revealed to us in that game that officially there is a force in the realm of Hyrule that quite frankly functions a lot like the Force from the Star Wars franchise. This force of power that governs all things is called the Light Force, and it's kind of a big deal in the game, what with the baddie of the game named Vati trying to capture it and all. Hey, those of you watching who have played the game, back me up on this. And wouldn't you know it, the elusive light force that governs all things exists within the bloodline of your favorite Princess Zelda. The Hyrule Historia describes this mysterious power as, quote, a source of infinite power from the heavens that holds the enormous power of the Force, which originally dwelled in all things. It's later proven within the Elemental Sanctuary that Zelda is the bearer of this force. Now, let's sum up some things here. Zelda, the incarnation of Goddess Hylia, is in possession of the Light Force, which is a source of infinite power from the heavens. I believe those two factors go hand in hand. To put it simply, our Princess Zelda has the infinite power of the gods at her disposal. Okay, so bringing this back from the heavens down to earth, with Zelda's infinite light force being explained, why was it so difficult for her to unlock the power in Breath of the Wild? Well, to be honest with you, it's probably from all the intense pressure placed upon her by her father, #parenting, #baddad. She just didn't realize that the secret to her powers was simply her own will. It's not in what clothes she's wearing or what shrine she's praying to. It's her own force of will. That's why she can accomplish so many things over all the games, and they're all embedded within the light. So, back to the original scene we're discussing. The baddies come up, Link is pretty low on HP, so Zelda steps in and wills every moving thing around her to die, including Link. But that's where next week's video comes in the part 2 to this theory. We're going to cover whether or not Link actually died there in this field and what exactly the Shrine of Resurrection took 100 long years to accomplish. And furthermore, why the shrine was built in the first place 10,000 years ago for a hero that seemingly didn't need to use it. You'll want to be here for it, so once again, be sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell icon to experience the second part of this theory next weekend. And on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I was really excited to get all of this out to you, so please let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, please be sure to like this video if you enjoyed the content to get it spread around more on YouTube. Trust me, every like counts. Also, as always, huge thanks to my fantastic patrons, of which I have a new arrival. The amazing Geeky Girl Experience is now an official supporter, and I'm excited to have her aboard. If you're interested in getting your name up here at the end of each of my videos, please feel free to check out the Patreon link in the description below. Also down there are links to my social media pages, so come on over and say hey. That's all I've got in this video, so in the meantime, be sure to check out my other theories on the amazing Legend of Zelda. This is MaskedNintendoBandit signing out. Wash those hands, people, and stay safe. Peace.